Welcome to tonight's Terror, where you can expect original scary stories. Nothing here is written or narrated by AI. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for visiting, and enjoy the story.
It was supposed to be an easy gig, house sitting for the Tonellis, a wealthy couple with a mansion on the outskirts of town. They were on vacation for 2 weeks, and all I had to do was water the plants, feed the cat, and keep an eye on the place. Simple enough, and the money was too good to pass up. The house itself was massive, almost absurdly so. High ceilings, oak floors, and art pieces that probably cost more than my car. It was isolated, too, surrounded by tall trees and a sprawling lawn, the nearest neighbor a good quarter-mile away. At first, the quiet felt like a luxury, a chance to unwind and escape the chaos of everyday life. But as the days passed, the silence became heavier, almost oppressive. I began to listen for something that shouldn't be there. For days, I heard nothing but birds during the day and crickets at night. It was the third night when things started to go wrong. I was laying on their sectional couch in the living room with the Tonelli's cat, Skillet, curled up on my legs. I had been flipping through the streaming services on their massive TV and was beginning to nod off. Then I thought I heard a noise. Just a faint sound, like something bumping against the wall or a door someplace down the hall. I muted the TV and listened, but everything seemed still. The wind had picked up a little bit outside, and I figured something may have fallen over near the house. But the sound came again. This time it was more distinct, a low, grinding noise followed by a soft thud. My heart rate picked up as I slowly stood, scanning the room. I didn't want to admit it, but something new was happening here. I'd grown somewhat accustomed to their house sounds: air conditioner, dishwasher, ceiling fans. This was none of those sounds. Trying to build some confidence, I marched toward the front of the house, down the hallway connecting the living room to the entryway. I was walking fast, but the truth was, I wanted to convince myself that there was nothing to be afraid of. I flipped the switch for the front porch lights and peeked out the window flanking the entryway. I was beginning to believe that I wasn't scared, but there was still no way I was opening the door. Could there be an animal outside? There were black bears in the area known for going through trash cans, but I knew I'd stowed their rolling dumpster in the garage per their instructions. The porch lamp created a half circle of light, pushing back the darkness for 30 feet or so. Grass, the brick paver path leading to the driveway, potted plants, nothing else. Leaving the light on, I double-checked the lock and retreated to the living room. The moment I was there and had stopped walking, I heard an enormous thump. It had come from the backyard, or the patio bordering the room I was standing in. I walked over to the massive glass doors that opened onto the back patio, praying that I'd see nothing but the swaying shadows of trees. Standing at the windows, I knew I'd made a mistake. The indoor lights made it impossible to see out. I was looking at my own reflection, and the reflection of the furniture behind me. I called out to the smart home device to turn off the living room lights. With a bright chime sound, the lights snapped out and my reflection was replaced with the silhouette of a figure on the other side of the glass. For a moment I thought I was imagining it. Was that still my reflection? But then the figure moved. A man, tall and disheveled, wearing dark-colored clothes. He shuffled closer to the windows and pressed close to the glass, his hands splayed against it as if he was trying to see inside. I froze, unsure of what to do. My phone was on the kitchen counter, but I didn't dare move. The man stayed there for a moment, just staring, his breath fogging up the glass. Then, without warning, he started knocking, soft at first, but then harder, more insistent. The sound echoed through the house, sharp and invasive. Every knock sent a bolt of panic through me. I backed away, my pulse racing. The back doors were locked. I was sure of it. But what if he tried to break the glass? My eyes darted to the kitchen, maybe 20 steps away. I could call the police, but I had to get there without him noticing. Slowly, I began to inch toward the kitchen, keeping my eyes on the man the whole time. He knocked harder, the sound now abrasive, angry. And then he started talking. "Let me in," he hissed, his voice muffled by the glass. "I need to come in. I know you're in there. I've been watching you for ages." I felt a wave of nausea rise in my throat. My heart pounded in my ears as I reached the kitchen. I crouched behind the counter, pressing my back to the cabinet doors. I grabbed the phone and dialed 911, my hands shaking. 911, what's your emergency? The operator answered. Her voice was calm. Someone's trying to break into my house. Or the house I'm house-sitting for, I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady. He's outside, banging on the glass. Please, you need to send someone. She asked for the address. The address. I didn't know the Tonelli's address. The last time I'd thought about it was when I pulled it up online to see how far the drive would be. I rifled through the apps on my phone and pulled up maps to see the history. Empty, of course. I scanned the kitchen looking for anything that might have an address. At the other end of the counter was a basket I'd been using to collect the mail that had arrived for the Tonellis. I would need to move closer to him to reach it. It had been a few seconds since I'd had eyes on him, so I peeked back at the windows. There was nothing. He's gone, I whispered, my voice barely audible. I don't see him anymore. Are you safe inside? Are the doors locked? She asked, her tone suddenly more urgent. Yes, but... I froze. The silence was broken by the sound of something being dragged on pavement toward the front of the house. I raced to the other end of the counter and read the address off an insurance bill for the 911 operator. Stay on the line, she said. Officers are on their way. Keep all the doors and windows locked and don't leave the house. I nodded as if she could see me. I backed into the kitchen and crouched again behind the counter. The house felt too big, too empty, like I couldn't possibly keep an eye on everything at once. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer, clutching it tightly as I waited for the sound of sirens. Minutes passed in agonizing silence. Then I heard it. A creak from upstairs. My stomach dropped. I knew right away. He'd gotten on top of the garage and opened a bedroom window. He must have thought he could do it quietly enough to go unnoticed. Otherwise, he'd just have broken a window down here. As I waited to be certain before making a move, footsteps. Slow, cautious, coming from the second floor. He's inside, I whispered into the phone, trying to keep my voice from breaking. Get to a safe place and lock the door, the operator instructed. The police are on their way. I can't. I don't know where that is in this house. I'm getting out. Not waiting for a response, I pocketed my phone. I power walked as silently as I could to the door that led from the kitchen to the garage. As I softly pulled the door shut behind me, I heard footsteps on the stairs. From the garage's side door, I crawled on my hands and knees below the line of windows, and then to a patch of manicured bushes 20 yards from the house. Satisfied that someone inside couldn't see me, I picked up my head and studied the house. I could see him, dimly outlined by the glow of the TV's home screen. His face was gaunt, his eyes wide and alert. The only word that came to mind was unhinged. His clothes hung loosely on him. He looked like a scarecrow staggering through the house. He was shouting now. I know you're here. He was so loud that I could make out much of it from outside. You shouldn't have tried to hide. Tell the computer to put the light back on. The 911 operator was intermittently asking for updates. I could hear this faintly from my phone in my hoodie pocket, but I was too scared to pull it out because the brightness wasn't turned down. It would be like a beacon out in the backyard for this lunatic to see. I spoke urgently down toward my stomach. I'm outside. I can see him walking around in there. How close are the police? I don't know if she caught that or not, but somehow, as if he had superhuman hearing, the man turned his head toward the patio windows and stared out. I watched, horrified, as he unlocked the French doors leading to the patio and backyard. He took one step out, still looking in my direction. I saw Skillet zip between his legs and bolt toward the side yard. This either didn't surprise him, or he noticed and didn't care. He turned on an exterior light, and I could only hope its beams didn't reach my hiding place. He plopped himself down in a wicker chair on the patio as if he owned the house. "If you're outside, that's fine," he called. "I'll be waiting right here. I want to talk." This guy was deranged. He had the tone of voice of a father waiting to scold their kid. The sirens began whining some distance off. At first I thought he was going to ignore them. Finally, he stood, looking exasperated. Looking out toward the forest line, he shouted, "This has been a big disappointment, but I'll be back." He loped toward the trees in the direction that the cat had been running, and mercifully away from me. He hadn't reached the woods when 2 flashlight beams lit on him from behind. There was almost no scuffle as the cops got him on the ground and cuffed him. I didn't come out and shout to the officers until they had led him back toward the front yard and driveway. They searched the house while I waited on the back patio, staring at the wicker chair he had chosen. When they came back outside to talk, they told me what they'd found inside. One bedroom had a window left open. On the bed, there was a cut length of extension cord, a deck of playing cards, and a hard plastic comb that had been sharpened into a blade at one end. They told me that the extension cord was likely going to be a makeshift rope to bind me, and that I was very wise to get out of the house when I did. One of the officers was really nice and helped me find Skillet and get her back inside. After contacting the Tonellis, I left the house locked and emptied. I spent the next several days with my parents, refusing to leave their basement. Even to this day, I struggle to sleep in any room with a window.